our books, Jarvis. Jarvis. Let's all turn in our books, please, to lesson 21. We are on page 74. I need all eyes there. Everything else away, please. All eyes on 21, which is page 74. As soon as I've got everybody there, and we're all following along, we can begin. Portia, I'm waiting on you. Portia, I'm waiting on you. We need to open our book up to lesson 21, which is on page 74, please. All right, averages. You guys have seen averages before? With a head nod, yes or no? No? Some no's? Average, head nod, yes or no? Have you seen it before? She did nod her head. I haven't had a head nod from Damon or Portia or Jarvis. Never seen an average?
I just said about 20 times.
About 20 times. Damon, head nod? Have you seen averages before? An eyebrow nod. All right. All right. So, averages, all right, the formula for an average. Can anyone tell me the formula for an average? Think about how you're going to calculate an average. What would be your formula for average? Anybody know it? Off the top of their head? Or looking in your book? You know it, raise your hand. All right, so average, our formula for averages is to take the sum of the numbers on the top and divide it by the number of numbers, okay? And that gives you the average. So, if I said to take the average of 2, 3, and 4, what are you going to do? Sum of the numbers.
You're going to divide 3 by 9.
You're going to divide 9 by 3. 9 is our sum, right? 2 plus 3 plus 4 gives you 9. You have 1, 2, 3 numbers. So 9 divided by 3, my average there is 3. That's a pretty easy one, right? Okay, so when we talk about averages, think of us pancake stacks. All right, so let's all look at our book for a second. Our pancake stacks. The average of 4 numbers. They're giving us 1, 2, 4, and 5. So if we take 1, 2, 4, and 5, what do we need to do with those numbers to find our average? We're always going to start with sum of the numbers. Okay? And when we add 1, 2, 4, and 5 together, what do we get? 1 plus 2?
3.
Plus 4?
7.
Plus 5.
Yeah.
7 plus 5? Portia?
12.
Portia?
12.
12. Good. And we had how many numbers? 1, 2, 4, and 5. How many numbers,
4.
Portia?
1, 2, 4.
How many numbers? 4. So we had 12 was our top number, our sum of numbers, and we're going to divide that by 4. And we all know 12 divided by 4 gets you same average, right? So we picked a good set of numbers. So our average is 3. All right? So, looking at the pancake stacks. If I hand Destiny 1 pancake, I hand Jamaica 2 pancakes, tell Portia, here's 4 pancakes for you, and give Damon 5 pancakes and say, Jarvis, what's the average of all of their stacks of pancakes? Equally. So Destiny has 1, Jamaica has 2, Portia has 4, and Damon has 5.
I got 12.
You would have 12 if you stole them from everybody, right? But you're stealing from 4 people. So the average pancake per person was, Jarvis? The average pancake per person, Jarvis, looking at me, was what? You had 12 pancakes among them. There are 4 of them. How many pancakes average did each one have? I need in that words. 3, thank you. 3 pancakes, okay? So you guys see this can apply to real life stuff. If I ask what was the average number of pancakes per each student, you guys can tell me 3 pancakes, okay? So we come to our first set of bold words. The sum is the average times the number of numbers in the set. Okay, so if we needed to solve for the sum of the numbers, okay, what they're telling us if we have the average was 3, and we got that by taking 12 and dividing it by 4. Okay, we have to, at times, we're going to have to figure out what that sum of numbers is if they give us the average and they give us the number of numbers. Okay, so if this were our unknown number, we're going to take to find the sum of our numbers. What are we going to have to do? Mathematically speaking, how do we get to 12 with those two numbers? We've got to multiply. We're going to multiply the number of numbers by the average to get our sum of numbers. Okay, so that's rearranging this formula. This formula means the same as this formula, it's just got a different thing on the left side of the equal sign. Okay? So, something to keep in mind. Your sum of numbers you can solve by multiplying your average together with your number of numbers. Okay? So the first example, it says to find the average. 1765, 93, 742, and 21050. So how are we going to start? With those numbers, we're finding the average of something. It says find the average. We know we're going to use this one. We're going to take the sum of the numbers, and divide it by our number of numbers. So we've got 1765, 93, 742, and 21050. What do we need to do with those numbers to start finding the average? Tamika? We're going to add what? Add them all? Just 2 of them? Just 3 of them?
4 of them.
4 of them. Add all 4 of them. And since you told me there are 4 of them, what are we going to divide their sum by?
4.
4. Beautiful. Yes, Jamaica. Okay, so the sum, I know you guys are good at adding, so let's just look here. The sum, it tells us, is 23,650. So if we have 23,650.
Sorry to interrupt, Jarvis. I need you to sit up, please. Is that funny?
Okay, so our sum of those, Jarvis, the sum of our 4 numbers, Jarvis, be finished. You're talking. Jarvis. Okay, so our sum, we told us those 4 numbers was 23,650. How many numbers were there? Jamaica, you told us? 4. 4. Okay, so now what do I need to do? I need to divide. I need to take 23,650 and actually divide it by 4. Number on the bottom, outside of the tent. So how many 4s in 2? None. Okay, I like to keep my spot holders. How many 4s in 23? 5. Good job, Jamaica. 4 times 5. It's 20. Good. How many left? 3 minus 0? 3. 3. Oh, 36. I get you. How many 4s in 36? 36. 9. Beautiful. 9 times 4? 36. None left. Drop my 5. How many 4s in 5? 1. 1 times 4. How many left? 10. How many 4s in 10? 2. 2 times 4? 8. How many left? 2. Okay, so now we've got a number, and if we look at it, we're going to go with decimal places for these. Okay, so we'll add in our decimal place whenever we write it, send it up, and let's add a 0. We drop 1 0. 4's in 20? 5. Okay, and 4 times 5 gets us 20, so we have none left after that. So our decimal can stop at that 0.5. So the average for those 4 numbers, for 1765, 93, 742, and 21,050, our sum divided by 4, number of numbers, got us 5,912 and 5 tenths. Okay, so the average of those 4 numbers was 5912.5. Okay. Will someone talk us through finding the average for example 21.2? Destiny, will you do that one for us? Talk us through what we're going to do. If you see a question that says find the average of and gives you some numbers, what are you going to do?
We add the 8 numbers and divide the sum.
You've got 8, 17, 14, 10, 18, 6, 13, and 12, right? We add those all together. What do we get? 98. Quick math. Good job. All right, so we added those all together. Come on, we're in here. We add those all together, get 98. And Destiny told us there are 8 numbers. So Destiny, what are you going to do with 98 and 8? Divide them. So when you divide 98 by 8, what do you get? 12.25. So the average of those 8 numbers can be a decimal place. And we said the average of those 8 numbers is 12.25. Okay? We've got a word problem. All right, so they are going to put averages into word problems. You sit up, come on. Word problems, okay? The average of 4 numbers is 10, okay? So if we've got our formula, and it says the average of 4 numbers is 10, which formula up here do you think we might want to use? The bottom one. Why?
Because,
Okay, you put 2 and 2 together. If they're giving us the average, we could do it here. Let's plug it in. The average they tell us is 10, right? It tells us 3 of the 4 numbers are 2, 14, and 7. So how many numbers do we have?
4.
4. 4 numbers, right? It says that there are 4 numbers. 3 of them are 2, 14, and 7. But we don't know that last blank, okay? So, one suggestion I have for you guys, I need all eyes up here, please. Devon, if that's trash, it needs to go in the trash. We're not playing with that right now, please. Okay, I need you focused up here, and right now we're not focused, okay? So whatever you need to do to get focused. You either put that away, throw it away, whatever you need to do. Okay? Perfect. All right, so we have 4 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I like my blanks. I think you guys have figured that out by now. Okay, so give yourself 4 blanks, and one of them you don't know. Okay, that's what it told us. It says we know 3 of the 4 numbers. But our job now is to find that 4th number. Can we do that? Yes, we can. Okay, so we can do it. So if we know 10 is our average, that's what they told us. 4 is our number of numbers. Do we know our sum? Right now, do we know our sum? Okay, that's our unknown, but we can figure it out, right? We can figure it out. So we said if that's what we need to know, we can go down here and use our formula to figure out the sum of the numbers. That question mark was our sum, so we can use this version of our formula. Okay, if you guys can remember it, rather than writing it down every time, we said if you have your question mark on the top, we're going to multiply those 2 numbers together. It's the same as when we were doing like 3 equals n over 7, right? To solve for n, we had to multiply. A bigger number divided by 7 gets you 3. Okay? So multiply them together. So what is my sum of numbers going to be for this example? Damon, what's my sum of numbers going to be for this example? I want to know the sum of numbers. Okay, so the sum is what we don't know. So that's the number that we need to solve for right now. Okay, it's like this example. We're solving for this question mark. How do we solve for that question mark? We know our average is 10. We know the number of numbers is 4. So what's the sum of the numbers? Okay, how do we solve for that question mark? So I can plug it in down here. We're going to take the number of numbers and multiply by the average. Multiply our numbers together. So what is our sum of numbers? 40. Okay, so the sum of my numbers has to equal 40. Now can you guys solve for question mark?
Yes.
Okay, Jarvis, what are we going to do?
Add 14.
Okay, and what do you get? When you add those 3, you get 23. Okay, so now I have 23 plus unknown equals 40.
Subtract from 40.
Subtract from 40. What am I going to subtract from 40? 23. Good job. So when I subtract 40 minus 23, I get
23. 17.
17. Okay, 17. So this last number that we didn't know is 17. So your answer to that question, it asks you, what is the fourth number? 17 is our fourth number. Okay? So that whole process, it's a multi-step process, okay? So we know our average, we knew our number of numbers. We can plug it into our formula to figure out our sum of numbers. Okay, and once we know our sum of numbers, we know that we can add those four numbers together to get 40. 23 plus the unknown equals 40. Subtract so that we get 17 as our unknown fourth number. Okay? Any questions on that? We need another example?
No.
We good? Alright, so practice A, B, and C. We start on that now. And we will do the lesson